Hey, sweetie, come closer. Can you hear the birds and the leaves rustling? Mom is sitting outside with you. The sun is warm. The wind is gentle, and I'm right here. Close your eyes, relax, and listen. You are safe. You are loved. And Mommy is taking care of you. Are you ready to hear the second part of The Little Prince, my little one? Close your eyes. Relax and breathe. Mom is here. Part 4. That was how I had learned a second very important thing, which was that the planet he came from was hardly bigger than a house. That couldn't surprise me much. I knew very well that except for the huge planets like Earth, Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, which have been given names, there are hundreds of others that are sometimes so small that it's very difficult to see them through a telescope. When an astronomer discovers one of them, he gives it a number instead of a name. For instance, he would call it asteroid 325. I have serious reasons to believe that the planet the little prince came from is asteroid B612. This asteroid has been signed only once by telescope in 1909 by a Turkish astronomer who had then made a formal demonstration of his discovery at an international astronomical congress. But no one had believed him on account of the way he was dressed. Grown-ups are like that. Fortunately for the reputation of asteroid B612, a Turkish dictator ordered his people, on pain of death, to wear European clothes. The astronomer repeated his demonstration in 1920, wearing a very elegant suit, and this time everyone believed him. If I've told you these details about asteroid B612, and if I've given you its number, it's an account of the grown-ups. Grown-ups like numbers. When you tell them about a new friend, they never ask questions about what really matters. They never ask, what does his voice sound like? What games does he like best? Does he collect butterflies? They ask, how old is he? How many brothers does he have? How much does he weigh? How much money does his father make? Only then do they think they know him. If you tell grown-ups, I saw a beautiful red brick house with geraniums at the windows and doves on the roof. They won't be able to imagine such a house. You have to tell them, I saw a house worth 100,000 francs. Then they exclaim, what a pretty house. So, if you tell them, the proof of the little prince's existence is that he was delightful, that he loved, and that he wanted a ship. When someone wants a ship, that proves he exists. They shrug their shoulders and treat you like a child. But if you tell them the planet he came from is asteroid B612, then he'll be convinced, and they won't bother you with their questions. That's the way they are. You must not hold it against them. Children should be very understanding of grown-ups. But of course, those of us who understand life couldn't care less about numbers. I should have liked to begin this story like a fairy tale. I should have liked to say, once upon a time there was a little prince who lived on a planet hardly any bigger than he was, and who needed a friend. For those who understand life, that would sound much truer. The fact is, I don't want my book to be taken lightly. Telling these memories is so painful for me. It's really been 6 years since my friend went away, taking his ship with him. If I try to describe him there, it's so I won't forget him. It's sad to forget a friend. Not everyone has had a friend, and I might become like the grown-ups who are no longer interested in anything but numbers, which is still another reason why I've bought a box of paints and some pencils. It's hard to go back to drawing at my age when you've never made any attempts since the one of bow from inside and the one of a bow from outside at the age of 6. I'll certainly try to make my portraits as true to life as possible, but I'm not entirely sure of succeeding. One drawing works, and the text no longer bears any resemblance, and I'm a little off on his height too. In this one, the little prince is too tall, and there's he's too short, and I'm uncertain about the color of his suit. So I grope in one direction and another as best I can. In the end, I'm sure to get certain more important detail all wrong. But here you'll have to forgive me. My friend never exclaimed anything. Perhaps he thought I was little like himself, but I unfortunately cannot see a ship through the sides of a crate. I may be a little like the grown-ups. I must have grown old. 5 part. every day I'd learn something about the little prince's planet, about his departure, about his journey. It would come quite gradually in the course of his remarks. This was how I learned on the third day about the drama of the baobabs. This time, too, I had the sheep to thank, for suddenly the little prince asked me a question, as if overcome by a grave doubt. Isn't it true that sheep eat bushes? Yes, that's right. Oh, I'm glad. I didn't understand why it was so important that sheep should eat bushes. But the little prince added, and therefore they eat baobabs too. I pointed out to the little prince that baobabs are not bushes, but trees, as tall as churches, and that even if he took a whole herd of elephants back to his planet, that herd couldn't finish off a single baobab. The idea of the herd of elephants made the little prince laugh. We'd have to pile them on top of one another. But he observed, perceptibly, before they grow big, baobabs start out by being little. True enough. But why do you want your sheep to eat little baobabs? He answered, Oh, come on, you know, as if we were talking about something quite obvious. And I was forced to make a great mental effort to understand this problem all by myself. And in fact, on the little prince's planet, there were, as on all planets, good plants and bad plants. The good plants come from good seeds, and the bad plants from bad seeds. But the seeds are invisible. They sleep in the secrecy of the ground until one of them decides to wake up. Then it stretches and begins to sprout, quite timidly. At first, a charming, harmless little twig reaching towards the sun. If it's a radish seed or a rose bush seed, you can let it sprout all it likes. But if it's the seed of a bad plant, you must pull the plant up right away as soon as you can recognize it. As it happens, there were terrible seeds on the little prince's planet. Baobab seeds. The planet's soil was infested with them. Now, if you attend to a baobab too late, you can never get rid of it again. It outgrows the whole planet. Its roots pierce right through, and if the planet is too small, and if there are too many baobabs, they make it burst into pieces. It's a question of discipline, the little prince told me later on. When you have finished washing and dressing each morning, you must tend your planet. You must be sure you pull up the baobabs regularly, as soon as you can tell them apart from the rose bushes. which they closely resemble when they are very young. It's very tedious work, but very easy. And one day he advised me to do my best to make a beautiful drawing for the edification of the children where I live. If they travel someday, he told me, it could be useful to them. Sometimes there's no harm in postponing your work until later. But with baobabs, it's always a catastrophe. I knew one planet that was inhabited by a lazy man. He had neglected 3 bushes. So, following the little prince's instructions, I have drawn that planet. I don't much like assuming the tone of a moralist, but the danger of baobabs is so little recognized, and the risks run by anyone who might get lost on an asteroid are so considerable that for once I make an exception to my habitual reserve. I say, children, watch out for baobabs. It's to warn my friends of a danger of which they, like myself, have long been unaware that I worked so hard on this drawing. The lesson I'm teaching is worth the trouble. You may be asking, why are there no other drawings in these books as big as the drawing of the baobabs? There's a simple answer. I tried, but I couldn't manage it. When I drew the baobabs, I was inspired by a sense of urgency. How did you that feel, my sweet? Did you enjoy listening to the little prince outside with me? Remember, I'm always here whenever you need me. Now, take a deep breath, and when you are ready, open your eyes slowly. Sleep well, my little one. Mommy loves you.